In 1991, a cattle trainer in Romania ventured out for a business trip. He got on a train, but didn't come home. 30 years later, seemingly unharmed, the man returned to a shocked family. Let's explore. Occasionally, a reported missing person returns to the lives of their loved ones and the public. In August of 2021, Vasille Gorgos strolled through the gate of his family's home, the home he had left for a business trip 3 decades prior. His bizarre story quickly made waves online. A missing person returning after 30 years is already sensational, but some details made it even more curious. It started in 1991 when Vasille Gorgos purchased a train ticket at the Bacău station for work. Gorgos resided in the countryside in Bacău, Romania, and worked in the Romanian livestock industry trading cattle. His short business trip in 1991 was simple and routine. However, he didn't return when expected. After several days of no contact, his family reported him missing to the police. After 15 years of complete silence and no updates from the police, his family assumed the worst and held a memorial service in his honor. Then, in the late evening of August 2021, Gorgos returned. He was now 93 years old. According to witnesses, a car brought Gorgos to the neighborhood before speeding away. The dog started barking, residents woke up, came out to the streets, and wondered who this elderly man was. Gorgos appeared at the home where his son still lived. He was unharmed, allegedly in the same clothes, and allegedly with his 30-year-old train ticket still in his pocket. With these bizarre details released, it's easy to jump to conclusions about where Gorgos was the whole time. A popular theory was that Gorgos was in prison. It would explain his returning home with the same belongings, but it doesn't add up since authorities would have contacted his family at some point. Also, serving a prison sentence in Romania for over 25 years is extremely rare. A second theory is aliens. Several Reddit posts suggested he was abducted by aliens and returned by a man in black, which would explain the haste and doing so under the cover of darkness, and Gorgos not being able to account for much for the last 30 years. A third theory is that he ran away from home. I think this theory to be the most plausible. Of course, it would be incredible if Gorgos did return wearing the same clothes with the same train ticket in his pocket from 30 years ago. But I think these details got lost in translation, or they're posted because they make for good clickbait. Let's go back to the source. The news station that broke the story, ETV Bacău, is in Romanian. Now, I don't speak the language, but I did pull the transcripts and run them through several different translation software. While 1 or 2 words were off, the results were pretty consistent. Amid Gorgos claiming he can't remember much of anything about the last 30 years and saying he's home, there is no mention of him wearing the same clothes that he left in. There are statements that Gorgos appeared rather unchanged despite the passing years. Yes, there was a train ticket discovered in Gorgos' pocket, but it wasn't 30 years old. The train ticket was purchased on August 22, 2021. The route was from Pitești to Bacău. As for the car that sped away after dropping Vasille off, some security footage provided more information. Some young men reported they found Gorgos wandering around at the train station. He was confused, and it had taken him 3 hours to get from platform 2 to platform 3. He tried to flag a taxi, but no luck. The young men offered to help and drive him home. He didn't know exactly where home was, but he said it was in the Bacău neighborhood. They stopped by a bar in Bacău where a local happened to recognize Gorgos and directed them toward the house. The young men who gave him a ride say they took him to a gate, where he started shouting and waving his stick around. They took off, saying they wanted to help, but that staying put might put them in harm's way with Gorgos' behavior. The most curious part about Gorgos' story is his whereabouts for the last 30 years. In the first interview, it said that Gorgos, in his confusion, mentioned a woman named Maria who had died. This Maria was likely his second act, and her passing led him back to his former home. Perhaps Gorgos ventured off to a new life and decided to return home at the end of his days. Although Gorgos' family has asked for anyone with information about where he was for the last 30 years to come forward, it seems to fall low on the priority list, with the most important thing being peace. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about Mr. Gorgos' story, so please feel free to drop a comment. Thanks for watching.